story. It's real simple, not fancy at all, but it's going to be the way that we win marriage equality. It's going to be the way that we transform our community and our relationship to other movements. It's going to be the way that we create the change we want to see. We all know that we're talking stories all the time. I told you that little story about what happened to me at the airport. Everybody in this room has come home and said, "You never believe what happened to me at work." And they tell the story. Well, we know that part of what went wrong in the No Our Name campaign is that we did not tell our personal story. This time, this reminds me of like some of those old, boxing advertisements, or those of you who are sports fans might understand this. Say, this time, personal. Well, this time it's going to be personal because we are going to speak from the heart. We're going to share who we are. We're going to let people know what our values are, how we're wired. We're going to let people see that we care about the same things you care about. I mean, think about some of the stories that have meaning to you, things that you remember. Everybody kind of has their stock of stories. Stories from your family, those stories that your parents tell over and over and over, maybe from your church, from your faith traditions. In fact, all the faith traditions and cultures use stories as ways to transmit the values of that faith tradition. The Exodus story, Paul of Tarsus being struck blind. I mean, these are stories that tell people throughout generations, throughout the years, okay, this is who we are. These are the things that we care about in this family, in this church, in this synagogue, in this community. And in fact, we as humans are so wired for stories because it helps us to know, well, how do I navigate in uncertain waters? How would I deal with that situation? When you hear about the pilot over the Hudson that had to land that plane, and you know that at that instant where he knew that all of his training and everything that he ever knew was on the line, and it had to perform and get that plane down and get those people off. It's not just an interesting story to us. It calls up, what would I do? Could I respond like that? Would I be so noble when that plane is in the water and filling up to go up and down those aisles looking to see if anybody was left? Remember that part of that story?
Yeah.
That part of that story really struck me. Because it also told me, okay, that's the kind of person that is summoned in this sense of, that's the kind of person that I would like to believe that I am, and that I would do that under similar circumstances. I like stories of those soldiers who come back, mortally wounded, maybe they lost both legs, they're struggling to get their life back, and they're pouring every ounce of determination into walking again. And it just makes me think, God, this stuff. Remember, be faithful. These are universal types of stories. So stories do a couple of things. They help us understand what we really care about. You ever find yourself just tearing up automatically when you hear a certain part of a story? That has shown a spotlight right into your heart. And if if someone was telling you that, it doesn't matter if they're gay, straight, trans, bi, it doesn't matter. You connected because you're good. So part of what we're going to do in terms of learning how to tell our own personal story is to help you understand what you've got, what you have been through. How did you get here? Who are you? Where did you come from? You see, that's part of your personal story. That's part of how you got, you were born into your family, and then you had a certain journey, and now you're here today, and ours has to cross. But along the way, you've encountered surprises, you've encountered challenges, life has thrown you for a loop. Some things have happened that were extremely exhilarating, others were devastating. So part of what you're going to be doing is you are going to be excavating your story of self so that, number one, you know, oh my God, this is where I've been. This is who I am. It calls up a certain confidence because you can see what you've faced, what you've overcome, and what you've learned.
Picture me at 5 or 6 on the couch watching Missy Davis with my dad. The topic was homosexuality. I was scared and sure at the same time I wanted to check with my dad. At the end of the show, my dad said, those people are going to be destroyed. God's going to deal with them. I was heartbroken. I went in my room and cried because I didn't want to die. Why? Oh, but I said, Dad, I don't want to die. I said, what? I'm like, Dad, I'm a homosexual. He set me down and kept Bible talk about homosexuality and how God can help me change, and they're just false. And he prayed, and I was cured. I didn't think about Kiana in first grade. But actually, I knew that I couldn't come to him or anyone else about that. I was very depressed. And that depression, as I got older, was anger. I was angry at God because God knew when He made me